You want to see real changes to your physique? Then you need to perform sets intensely. That means close to failure within a rep or two, or even to complete failure. And with the HIIT training rave that's going on lately, I think a lot more people are aware of the importance of training intensely. But the problem is, a lot of people just don't know how to properly train to failure. It might sound as simple as just taking a set to the point that you can no longer complete another rep. But what I see over and over again is people stopping sets, not because of failure, but due to fatigue, due to discomfort, overestimating your rate of perceived exertion, or RPE. Now remember, if your goal is to maximize hypertrophy, you don't need to train to muscular failure. And you especially don't need to take every single set to failure. But if you subscribe and swear up and down to HIIT methods, that's fine. But effective training plans for building muscle, they're all generally programmed with most sets taken within 2 reps of failure. And some are trained with sets all the way up to true failure. I've personally trained the last 20 years with most of my sets taken with 1 or 2 reps left in the tank, and about half my total sets being to true muscular failure. So while failure doesn't have to be the focus of your training, it is a tool that you should utilize appropriately. And not just failure, but sets that are intense within 1 or 2 reps from it. But in order to do that, you have to know how to do so effectively. So if you're looking to make sure that you're appropriately training with an intense level of effort, one method that's essentially a training hack to making sure you're training intensely is simply to train with lower reps. Sets of 4 to 6 might not seem like bodybuilding reps, but they're actually extremely beneficial for building muscle. One of the main benefits is that they allow you to lock in for just a few seconds on a heavy set. A set of 4 to 6 reps taken to failure doesn't need nearly the amount of focus and attention that a 20 rep set taken to failure does. If I load up the bar with a weight that you could only do 6 reps with if your life depended on it, and I told you do as many reps as possible, you only have to stay focused and locked in for just 6 reps. The first 4 might feel heavy, but the last 2 are really the ones that are going to require a lot of effort. Now, if I loaded up the bar with your 20 rep max, and I said do as many reps as humanly possible, by 10, your focus is going to start going in other directions. You're going to be thinking about the sensation in your muscles, your breathing is going to start changing. This is fine. And if you're more experienced and advanced, it's really not going to faze you. But understand that these are all things that are going to take away from your mental focus. Now, by 15 reps, you're really going to feel that lactic acid burning in the muscles. And depending on the exact exercise you're performing, you might start to get out of breath. And with all this going on, you're much less likely to focus on taking the target muscle to muscular failure. But rather, you're just focused on finishing the set. And it's really at this point that many people will just start to compromise their form. They'll simply start pumping out reps just to get to that 20 rep mark. That's not actually more productive for growing muscle, but rather if they just stayed locked in and even performed fewer reps but took the target muscle to failure. But if they're able to actually get that set of 20 reps to failure, you can make the argument that a set of 20 reps to failure is just as effective as a set of 6 reps to failure. But here's the thing, make no mistake, a set of 20 reps to failure is nowhere near as efficient as a set of 6 reps to failure. Even if we remove the goal of training to failure, and if we just talk in the context of making a set effective for building muscle and going 1 to 2 reps shy of failure, the same argument still applies. You can accomplish this much more efficiently with lower reps than you can with higher reps. And this is why I'm personally such a huge fan of lower rep training. And I'm especially a fan of using lower reps with guys who just don't know how to train very hard. If you perform heavy enough sets with loads that you only handle for 5 to 6 repetitions, you're going to get very familiar with training near failure. And you're inevitably going to meet failure at some points, whether that's your intention or not. But remember, you have to pick rep ranges appropriately for each exercise. I'm not suggesting you do overhead tricep extensions for 4 reps, but if you want to expose your muscles to some intense sets, heavy compounds for 4 to 6 reps are great, at least until you've really trained yourself on how to enter a set and take it to as close to failure as possible. Personally, I train with all reps from as low as 4 to 5 all the way up to 15 to 20. But here's the thing, I do them all with similar levels of intensity. There's times where I train with 1 to 2 reps in the tank and other times where I leave no reps in the tank. But I'm personally able to do that with low rep sets and with high rep sets. But don't get it wrong, even though I'm able to do that within all rep ranges, it's still easier for me to do that with low rep sets. So make sure to perform work in all repetition ranges, but develop your skill of training with intense sets in those lower rep ranges. Then slowly incorporate those higher rep sets over time and continuously try to apply that same level of effort and that same level of intensity to all sets in the gym. If you could do that over time, you're gonna become a much more skilled lifter, and you're gonna be able to get more out of each and every set and rep you perform in the gym. And if you want the exact training programs that I personally recommend to build more muscle using proven old school bodybuilding methods, all my old school mass gain programs are down below. And as always, if you want to see more of the best original bodybuilding content just like this, make sure to hit subscribe.